Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Week 1 DFS Preview live stream. What a whack name! What a unexciting name! You guys, our listeners at home, help us come up with like a good nickname for this. What we should call this. But what this is a monumental, groundbreaking achievement in human history. We have a reunion of sorts. We have John Proctor and myself, my humble beginnings with the Power Hour podcast, me and Johnny getting hammered, talking about jamming Brian Hartline into your cash game lineups maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever it was. And now Graham Barfield involved too. This is the Fantasy Points DFS live stream. What are we doing? We are walking the slate every single Thursday night at this time. The three of us get together. We talk about the key DFS matchups, plays, pricing. We break it down game by game, walking the slate. But before we do, I want to introduce, we have Graham Barfield coming to us from NFL.com. He left them 9 months ago to start Fantasy Points with me and John and Joe and Tom. But we also have John Proctor. And I really need to just dedicate a little bit of time here to express some genuine gratitude for having Johnny on this podcast. Why is he doing this? It's not money. He's doing it legitimately as a favor to me. He doesn't need to be touting. This is a guy who typically enters, my PFF salary on a weekly basis into DFS games, and he's quite profitable. Almost every week he's sweating, a major cash. Who is this? This is the guy who taught me everything I know about DFS and is still better than me. Knowledgeable, a guy who, when he talks, I shut up and I just listen and I learn. I'm still learning from him. Phenomenal player, phenomenal analyst. He's a full-time lawyer by trade. And you could just tell in his analysis, he's one of the best true logicians in fantasy football. He's so up to date. I bring the dank stats. He's so up to date on all the top news. And really, again, what is he doing? Like, he doesn't need to be giving away all of his trade secrets. He's doing this as a favor to me to make Fantasy Points a little bit more legitimate with the pro DFS crowd. And he's going to bring the hot takes. And guess what? He's also going to be in our Discord, helping out our subscribers, talking DFS, talking late breaking news, things like that. So from the bottom of my heart, genuinely, Johnny, thank you so much for doing this. Graham, what's up? I'm excited. I don't know. What do you guys have to say?
This has been I know, man. It feels like it's been I was talking with Edwin about this morning, but it feels like it's been 3 years or some shit between the Super Bowl and now. So, man, I'm just happy we're getting ball back, and happy we can talk some DFS. It's definitely been a long time coming, it feels like.
Yeah, man, I upgraded my shower curtain. I got the Fantasy Points curtain behind me. Let's do it, man.
Is that what that is back there? You got a whole shower curtain behind you?
Yeah, pretty much.
My girlfriend does a Johnny impression. She watched so many Power intros where it's just me on this long-winded 5-minute monologue, and then at the end of it, Johnny just goes, "Yeah, man. So let's break down Chiefs Texans," which right back in the groove, Johnny. Graham, you want to start us off? What's the first game we're breaking down?
Yeah, so obviously Chiefs-Texans is about to kick off here in about an hour and a half, but we're only going to be talking about the main slate tonight for DraftKings FanDuel, the 12-game main slate, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. games. And the NFL did what they normally do, is they stacked all the games at 1 o'clock. There's only 3 games at 4. But first game we're going to be talking about tonight is Dolphins Patriots. This game has the second lowest total on the main slate. I personally don't have a lot to love in this game, but Johnny, I'll go to you. Is there any plays you're looking at in particular here? And if so, who?
Sorry, did you say Dolphins? I was getting my screen up.
Yeah, Dolphins, Patriots.
Okay, yeah. So the Patriots are like the weirdest team in the league for week 1. And it's in the sense of like Cam Newton. If we really knew that Cam Newton was like fine, then he would be by far the best QB play on the slate at his cost and what he used to be. And knowing that he's in a Patriots offense where a team is actually going to be good and make like correct decisions. And the Dolphins are bad. So it's tough to sort of figure out whether or not Cam is good. You know, there's mixed reports. You have the camp reports that say like he looked awesome. You have the camp reports that said like he couldn't throw a pass to anyone and he was like hyper focused on Edelman, et cetera, et cetera. So I think if you're doing a lot of lineups, you have to have exposure to, you know, Cam and Edelman, because there's a chance that that these are just massively mispriced players on a Patriots offense that is going to, you know, we're all going to say, oh, well, of course the Patriots are good. Why did we miss this? So I think that's the main thing you want to look at. And then on the Dolphins side, it's just a matter of like who's healthy, who's starting. They sort of decide on a whim because that's what the Dolphins do.
Yeah, the Dolphins this week, I mean, I saw Devontae Parker has a little hamstring tweak. I think he'll be fine, but bigger concern for him is obviously he's going to get shadowed by Stephon Gilmore. And last year, Devontae Parker had a donut against Gilmore in week 2. Then he had a big game in the final.
So he was actually shadowed by Jason McCourty in that game.
Oh, he was?
In their second matchup, McCourty was out and Gilmore shadowed. And he actually did well against Gilmore, but the tougher matchup for him is McCourty, who he's going to see this week. He's not in play, also because he's hurt, but also because there was a report that Flores has said like a lot of his players are going to be on snap counts. So I think we see that because he's banged up. I think we see that because Preston's coming off of an ACL injury in limited camp.
Yeah, the Dolphins are just a team that like they're not. Flores fully understands like they're not a competitive team yet this year. So the major point of like what the Dolphins are trying to do this year is sort of like figure out who they are. So who plays the most snaps from a week to week basis, I think in the first half of the season is going to be a little bit of a guessing game. And I just don't think anyone's really ever going to be right.
Right.
There's a question that does Gesicki play like the big slot in this Chan Gailey offense, and the cornerbacks shut down the wide receivers, but leave him open. But that's not something I'm exploring. I mean, all reports are Gesicki has looked garbage in camp.
He always
the one thing,
camp.
Right?
He's like a bad practicer.
He's not a good football player. That's the problem, man.
Yeah.
He's not a good
game player either. Only thing, like I'm really not looking at anyone except for Cam, and I think everything you said was great. But I think an interesting wrinkle here is this is Brian Flores with a Belichick-style defense up against Belichick. Who knows how to exploit the weaknesses of a Belichick-style defense better than Belichick? And how do you exploit a Belichick-style defense with a hyper-mobile quarterback? If you look back at the past 10 years, they get destroyed. Like any quarterback running 5 or more times averages like 33 fantasy points per game against New England's defense, while they shut down everyone else. Who hurt Miami's defense last year? Josh Allen, who is just basically a white Cam Newton. What they do is they play a lot of man. They have move disguise droppers. What does this mean? It's just like a lot of guys who don't have their eye on the quarterback, which means they're vulnerable against the run. So like if you tell me Cam Newton, like even if he's not 100%, runs, 5 times this game, like I have a trouble imagining he doesn't hit value. I also have trouble imagining he doesn't run 5 times per game. Why would you have him as your starting quarterback if you're not going to run him? He's not a good passer. It's the legs which make it easier for him as a passer.